So what you will find if you decide to go on a self-improvement journey, and if you decide to stay with it, as you might not see changes right away, but what happens is there's a compounding effect where you can eventually get to the point where it almost seems like you know exactly what to do in every situation. You know exactly how to win. Making money becomes easy. And usually the reason for that is you started off, you might not have seen results right away, but you stayed the course, and eventually the results can sometimes look like this, where it's not like, even though you're getting better, even though you're getting better continuously, the results in your life can sometimes look like this. So let me just kind of share with you an example of this. So one of the first books that I read, I think the first book was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then it was, I think, What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. But one of the books I read, one of the first books, was a book on body language. And it had all these things about body language. So, for example, one of the things is that if you go to shake someone's hand, so if I am shaking your hand, and my hand is up like this, where my palm is up, this generally shows that I'm submissive, that I like to be led. This is kind of the, if they say the right way to shake someone's hand is kind of, where it's not like this, it's not like this, it's right in the middle. And then if it's like this, so if I go to shake your hand and my palm is facing down, so I'm shaking your hand like this means I like to be in control. This means I like to dominate. So I read this, I don't know, this was probably over 10 years ago. Well, what I did is I will still use that one piece of information today if I'm doing face-to-face selling or face-to-face business. If I go to shake someone's hand and the person shakes my hand and their palm is facing down, what does that mean? That means that they like to be in control. So as I'm leading them through the sales process, because I still got to lead them through the sales process, but what'll happen is I might start to, instead of making statements or demands, I might say things like, well, what I'd like to do is share with you, I don't know, maybe I'm selling life insurance, right? Because I used to do that when I worked in Primerica. So I might say, well, you obviously came here because you wanted to learn about the life insurance. Would it be okay with you if I went ahead and started the presentation? So it's almost like I'm taking more of a submissive role while I'm leading. And if they shake their hand like this, they like that because then they like to feel like they're in control. Yeah, go ahead and start. But it's like I'm pandering to their ego a little bit because they like that. All right, great. I'll go ahead and start. And listen, this presentation is for you. So you go ahead and cut me off if you need to anytime. If you have any questions, just go ahead and let me know. Feel free to cut me off. And I want to answer any questions because, this presentation is about you. Does that sound fair? Does that sound good? So if someone shakes their hand like this, they're going, yeah, that sounds really, really good, right? They like that. Now, if they shake their hand and they're open like this, I can take more control. Great. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share this presentation with you. I'm going to go through all these slides, blah, 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 blah. And then if you have any questions, you just let me know, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions you have at the end. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So I can take a little bit more control if they shake their hand like this, and someone that shakes their hand like this generally likes that. So this one piece of information that I learned once, I've used, I don't know, maybe in 1,000 different situations. Then I learn about leading by asking questions. That's another sales technique, right? You lead by asking questions. So what am I doing? The next part of the step is, or in the example I gave, is I was leading by asking questions. So I learned one thing about handshakes, and then I learned another thing about, okay, you lead by asking questions. So I want to be in control, so I'm going to lead by asking questions, but I'm going to adopt my questions a little bit for the guy that shakes his hand like this, to where even though I'm in control, it makes him feels like he's in control. That way his ego gets satisfied. Another thing is that if you look at people's feet, so people's feet generally goes to what they're thinking about. So if I'm talking to you, and both my feet, whatever, and both my feet are pointed up like this to you, so you're there, I'm here, and my feet are pointed to you. The toes don't have, but my feet are pointed to you. That means I'm thinking about what you're saying. If one foot's pointed to you and the other foot's pointed like over here, and maybe the door is over here. So again, maybe I'm selling, maybe I'm selling life insurance, right? So if the door is over here and my foot's pointed to the door, what would that tell me? That would tell me that the person is not fully in the conversation. They're thinking about leaving. They kind of want to get out of here. So I don't want to keep going in the conversation, right? I want to stop and say, what do you think about that? Do you have any concerns? Looks like something's on your mind. Because then I would remember what I learned from Grant Cardone about you have to get someone's attention. And if I'm losing their attention because their foot's thinking, one of their feet's pointed at the door and they're thinking about going, it doesn't matter what I say. If I don't have their attention and they're not interested in listening to me, nothing I say matters. So what I would do is I'd want to stop, get their attention back focused on me, and then continue the presentation. See, so all these little things, now, those things I just shared with you, is that going to make you $1 million? No. But what happens is if you keep going down the self-improvement journey, keep reading, keep learning, watching YouTube videos, right? I actually got some other videos on my YouTube channel that are about just self-improvement. So you do whatever you need, but you keep learning, it starts to stack on each other. And then it's like you almost get to the point where you kind of know you get good at business, where you can start different businesses and you can make money pretty easily because you've combined and stacked all these things. There's a tree in, I believe it's the Chinese bamboo tree. And I forget the exact details, but it's something like, for the first 6 years, you're watering, you plant the Chinese bamboo tree seed in the ground. You're watering the tree, you're watering it, you're watering it, you're watering it. And it's something like, the first 6 years, it grows like 6 inches. But then, 6 months later, it grows like 6 feet. It's something like that. That's kind of what happens if you keep going down self-improvement. You keep getting all this information, you stack it on top of each other, and then all of a sudden it's like everything just starts to click. And it's not because it all started to click all at once, it's because you got all these little pieces and you kept it's almost like a puzzle. You kept putting one piece after another, and then you get to the point where the puzzle's complete, where you didn't really complete that puzzle with just one piece, even though I guess technically you did. But what really happened was it was from all the time you spent before getting the pieces, arranging them, and slowly but surely putting each piece together. So anyway, guys, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I explained that somewhat clearly. But that is how stacking self-improvement on each other works. And that is why it works and why it doesn't work. Because if you just read one book or one business book, it's good and that will have an effect. But the real magic is if you do a lot of self-improvement. So my name's Aaron Goldston, and I might see you guys on the next video.